Oh my god, she's gorgeous.
Could Taylor Swift be writing a book? Taylor Swift made her appearance on the Stephen Colbert Show tonight for an interview. And they talked about tons of things, including the docuseries, including the life of a showgirl.
I just posted a full recap of the entire episode, but there is something that Taylor said in the Late Show Stephen Colbert update that has me thinking that she is actually a ghostwriter.
This is a Taylor Swift news alert you don't want to miss. Check out everything that happened recently in this video.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen, I know looks can.
It's gonna have to make it work. What's worse is also the other people.
Taylor! Oh my god, she's gorgeous. Oh my god. That's it.
She's swift with it.
She's so gorgeous.
Could Taylor Swift be writing a book? Taylor Swift made her appearance on the Stephen Colbert Show tonight for an interview. And they talked about tons of things, including the docuseries, including the life of a showgirl, and including Taylor's favorite songs on her albums. Taylor said her favorite song was All Too Well.
I require a little bit of time to appreciate my work in a way, and it's constantly changing, right?
Too soon?
It's a little too soon, but I will say I think number one is All Too Well, the 10-minute version.
We knew Red was the favorite child, but then Taylor went into this weird rant about audiobooks, which immediately made me think of the bookstore in the All Too Well music video. And Taylor said, what if I plan things 3 years in advance? But she also just said she might need a little bit more time. Stephen also showed Taylor an old photo of her singing the national anthem, which is something they put in the docuseries, but she mentions the red headband, the red duster. Just seems like she's trying to tie us back to Red. Honestly, she was even wearing red. With a matching red shoe and her red lipstick, she looked gorgeous, as always. It's Taylor Swift. And she was also wearing this huge opalite bracelet. Even my husband noticed that one. I'm honestly just really glad that Talk Show Taylor is back. Please let me know your favorite moments or maybe Easter eggs that I missed from this interview in the comments.
Stephen Colbert episode just ended with Taylor Swift, and I have a full recap with quick notes for those of you who didn't get to watch, but if you are looking to watch, it will be uploaded on their YouTube soon. It is late, the house is sleeping, I'm in the bathroom, it's echoey, I'm sorry. So super quick rapid fire the entire episode. When Taylor came out and everyone lost their minds, Stephen said that Taylor coming out into the crowds must feel like the Beatles in 1964. And her response was they had their own thing going on, but that immediately made me think of the anthology theory where we got the docuseries concept from that we were Easter egging through the entire tour. He asked so many important questions, like if Taylor could feel the earthquakes that we were creating on tour, and she said that she absolutely could, and that her and her bandmates would look at each other and be like, this is not normal. He brought up the fact that he only has a few months left and asked if she had any advice in how she takes time off, and she said for his situation, no, but that he could redirect his energy, everything that he's been giving to his fans, everything that he's been giving to his show and the preparations, he could pour all that into his loved ones. And then he just dropped the bomb that he's seen the first 2 episodes of the documentary already. I have never been more jealous of a person in my life. So of course they brought up the promotion for the documentary and the updated Eras tour, the final show. They talked a lot about the tour. He asked Taylor how she fought through some of the hard times on tour, and she brought up that he did an entire show with a burst appendix. That's actually crazy. And he asked what is the biggest difference between Taylor Swift herself and Taylor Swift on stage. And Taylor went into this really silly monologue about how she would be like an old Victorian woman in a nightgown, and if someone saw her through the window, they'd think she was a ghost. But she said specifically and seriously that in her house she has no paraphernalia. She has no plaques, she has no studio, and that you wouldn't even be able to tell that a musician lived there. She has her piano and she has her guitar, but it's not like on display. She said her home is a very comfortable home and that she's built it to where she can be comfy with her family and tell them anything and nothing gets back to the press. He asked her about how she winds down off of the Eras tour, and she said that she can never sleep, that she dives straight into the bath like a mermaid, and that she orders a ton of room service. She mentions that she didn't find sourdough. Sourdough actually found her, but it hadn't discovered her on tour yet. So that gives us a timeline of when her sourdough obsession started. And then he asked what it's like in her off time, like when she's not touring, she's just doing what she wants. And she said that if she could turn her ideas off for a second, that would be great. She said she's always doing something creative, that just because she isn't doing the Eras Tour doesn't mean that she stopped creating. She's just creating things differently. She says that she's very into audiobooks. Actually, Stephen Colbert asked her specifically if she was into audiobooks, and she said yes, very much so. And then she went into this crazy story plot, very in-depth, very quickly, about a cottage covered in ivy in this insane murder mystery love story kind of thing. We're gonna have to go back and rewatch those, and I'll clip them because it seemed important, and she brought it up twice. They brought up her cats, and she did confirm that she took all of her cats on tour and that they go everywhere with her. They started talking about like how she feels about the way that she impacts people and things like that. And she says that it's the most annoying thing even to herself to hear her complain about anything because of the position she has in life. And she tries to take her angle of things from our point of views and saying that she really can, that everyone can really relate to each other, even if we're not identical. And the fact of she is very well aware of the position that she has and the privilege that she has. And so she knows nobody wants to hear her complain, so she doesn't. But she said that she's really glad that she has the influences in her life that she has, like Stevie Nicks, who she can just call up, and Max Martin, who worked on The Life of a Showgirl with her, and how he has helped reinvent his sound and how she has used his influence to reinvent hers and uses his advice in that field. She said that she really likes to use the influence of people who have the example of longevity in their careers, and that there's two types of people in this world. People who like the longevity of someone's career, and the other who is like, give someone else a turn. Can you just get out of here so we could talk about how good you were? And then she said, I don't want to. And then he, of course, congratulated her on her engagement and getting her master's back. But then he started asking really important questions, and he did his homework because he brought up the Time magazine interview and asked her about the quote about collecting Horcruxes and Infinity Stones, and asked her what Gandalf's voice sounded like in her head. She said it was really like a tone thing, and she imagined it was like, anyone who didn't make your music and owns it shall not pass. It's funny, you gotta see it. He then wished her a happy birthday, and then he brought up the picture of Taylor singing the national anthem in the American flag shirt when she was 11. His promo for this interview was him dancing around to Opalite in an American flag outfit. So something is going on with the red, white, and blue, just like her Grammy outfits. And she explained how that outfit at 11 made her feel unstoppable that day singing the national anthem, and how it was similar to the way that putting on the first outfit of every Eras Tour stop felt. He then asked her a question that he asked all big artists that come on his show. What are Taylor Swift's top 5 Taylor Swift songs? And she could only answer her top 1, which was All Too Well 10-minute version. And then she said, somewhere in this list has to be Mirror Ball from Folklore, because her friend just played it for her recently, and so that's why she's saying it. But Mirror Ball is the special never-before-seen performance that we got at the award show also. But then at the very end, she tells Stephen that in his time off, he could write a book. And then she gives him this insane, crazy plot for a book again. And she just goes off about a cottage covered in ivy. He recommends it off the coast of Rhode Island this time. And then she goes into like these crazy relationships and murder mysteries. And the dad's actually a twin, and it's crazy. But it sounds like it matters. So we have to go listen to this. But this is your overall recap of the entire hour episode. She did not announce a single, she did not announce a music video, she did not perform. But this was riddled with Easter eggs, and we are just getting started. Let me know what you think in the comments. I just posted a full recap of the entire episode, but there is something that Taylor said in the Late Show Stephen Colbert update that has me thinking that she is actually a ghostwriter. There are two times, that she went off about crazy plots in books. The first one was when Stephen brought up and randomly asked her if she's into audiobooks. There are 2 times in this episode where Taylor goes off on a crazy tangent with very, very intense practice details about a plot in a book. The plot about a cottage covered in ivy, and then a bunch of other details. Crazy murder mystery lover details. And then he asked the difference between Taylor Swift herself and Taylor Swift on stage. And she said that you could picture her in an old Victorian nightgown, and if you saw her from her window, that someone would think she was a ghost. And then to exit the entire interview, she told Stephen in his time off he's going to write this book, and she went off on a crazy, insane plot again about a cottage covered in ivy in this entire storyline, and specifically talks about a ghost at the end of the story. The very last detail she said was a ghost. And she said to everyone, if you find something like that, let me know. Has she written 2 books that we don't know about yet? The way that she went off on this entire plot about this certain cottage off the certain coast and this certain family member who did this thing and then they did this thing, it's almost as if she wrote it. Call me crazy. Taylor's egging a ghostwriter. Let me know what you think in the comments.
So we're officially a few hours away from the documentary. And I have to say, Taylor's interview with Stephen Colbert was an absolute delight. And I couldn't get enough of it. The mention of Trav, her top songs, legacy, and especially her love for audiobooks, as well as the thoughts that were inspired by them, which sound like ghost mystery books of her own. Has she written any, or was this some sort of elaborate Easter egg? Drop a comment below. And if you missed her arrival to the show, check out the next video.